It was here at Westminster Abbey in October last year that the Queen's growing struggle with mobility first became obvious. Her daughter Anne handing her mother a walking stick, which she would now need for support. She was 95 years old, and the years were finally catching up. And this deteriorating health would mean missing key engagements. In November, she was forced to pull out of attending the annual Remembrance Sunday service at the Cenotaph. And this blow came soon after the Queen was forced to spend a night at the King Edward VII Hospital. It was her first overnight stay in hospital for 8 years. By now, the monarch had been warned she needed to slow down her busy diary commitments.
It's been very clear all the way through her reign that she wants to do her best, and she's taken an oath that she has put first. So she's done incredibly well, and worked an awful lot longer than most of the people in this world. So well done.
In her 96 years, she has rarely been ill. She had surgery on her knees in 2003 and was back in hospital in 2013 after a bout of gastroenteritis. Even COVID did not seem to have a major impact on her health. The Queen caught the virus in February 2022. She told medics and bereaved families about the effect it had had on her.
It does leave one very tired and exhausted, doesn't it?
But there were other things that troubled her that the Queen would never share in public. Allegations surrounding her son Andrew, and a deepening family rift involving Harry and Meghan, which would undoubtedly have caused her much stress. But there is one major trauma that would have impacted the Queen's health like no other: the loss of her husband, Prince Philip, in April last year. This heartbreaking image of a woman separated from her life partner. It can only hint at the all-consuming grief.
The Queen's gone through a really major life event, losing a life partner, and it's not uncommon that we hear stories that people who have undergone such a loss really find the following years really very difficult. And obviously grief has many effects, doesn't it, on our psychology, but also maybe on other physiological aspects like immune system. It might also change behavior, which then leads to changes in muscle strength and ability to, again, cope with those activities of daily living. So I guess there is going to be an effect of losing a life partner.
Slowly, showing the resilience that had endeared her to millions, the Queen returned to public life, albeit in a much more limited way. Her passions kept her going, indulging her love of horses in Windsor and using a buggy to tour the Chelsea Flower Show. These shorter engagements were just about manageable. By June, however, the Queen was forced to limit her attendances at her own Jubilee celebrations. A month afterwards, she undertook what would be one of her last public engagements, the opening of a hospice in Windsor. The decline in the Queen's health was slow and not easily noticeable. Just a few days ago, she received the new Prime Minister. 48 hours later, her family announced her death.
What happens with somebody who is in their 90s or is frail is that even a small thing can make a big difference. Something that perhaps wouldn't have affected a younger person with much more reserve capacity can really make a big difference and cause someone to then become really very unwell.
A long, happy reign, a lifetime devoted to her family and her subjects. The Queen's 96 years were hardly troubled by ill health, and that will bring some small comfort to her grieving family. Ashish Joshi, Sky News.